Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Welcome to another video. So we are continuing on with our little series on interesting bezels, maybe we'll call it. So that's where, remember we did this one just recently and it is a patterned bezel, and then we did an interesting scallop around the inside. And so now, and that was the 18 by 25 millimeter stone. So today we're going to work on a 13 by 18 millimeter stone. And this is a cabochon, but you can use a fancy stone, you know, one of your crystal fancy stones in a 13 by 18 millimeter oval. That works as well. In fact, the video tutorial is using a fancy stone, but I absolutely adore these cabochons. They're so pretty. We've got this one decorated a little bit as well, plus this interesting beading in the front. So I'm going to get a materials list going and we'll get started right away. Okay, let's get a materials list going. So I'll go through the seed beads first, and then we need to talk about the cabochons. So you need 2 Delicas, a color and a metallic, and you need 2 15-0s, a metallic 15-0, that's for the edge, and you need a color 15-0 that's similar or the same color as your Delica, because we're going to be putting some 15-0s around here, and do you see how you can't even tell the color difference here? So you want it, in a perfect world, it would be the same bead in a 15-0 and a Delica, or just something similar. You know, the other ones I did are similar. They're not exactly the same color, but so that's what you need. Seed beads. You need a size 10 and 12 beading needle. I'm using 8-pound Fireline black satin, and I have a stop bead. Now, I want to talk to you about the cabochon you're going to use for this. So she's got her caliper out. I adore this caliper. My son bought it for me for my birthday a couple of years ago. Okay, so if you're going to use a cabochon, so that's a flat back gemstone cabochon like that. You want to make sure, of course, it's going to be a 13 by 18 millimeter oval, but you want to make sure that this measurement here, so this from here to here, is not much over 5 millimeters. So this is 4/8-6, and this is perfect. Grab another one. So this is one I grabbed. This one is, look at the difference, it's almost 7 millimeters. This one's going to be a problem. I mean, it's not that it can't be done, it's just that, you know, getting up this wide, this really thick stone is going to be difficult. So I would look for cabochons that are 5 millimeters, around 5-ish millimeters. And I think this one, let's check this one. This one's 560. This one and this one worked for me because I did it, you know, a similar one, and the stones are the same. So a little over 5 is fine. Don't go much over. If you're using a, you know, a fancy stone, so it's whatever, the oval fancy stone. One other thing about when you buy your cabochons, you really, if the place you're buying it from is a really, I say, you know, really attentive to their stones, and they, you know, they try to get stones that are similar in the thickness. They'll usually say on the website, the millimeter, this thickness right here. If you buy them, you know, like in a bulk of like 100 stones, you're going to get some that are super thick, like these are from the same lot, not the same stone. This one's super thick, this one's a little thinner. This one's even a little bit thinner. So, and also this one I think came from the same lot. I don't think this one did. I think this one did. And look how thin that one is, you know, this way. So, you know, however you want to buy them, I'm just giving you like the perfect size would be around 5 millimeters, or a teeny bit over or a teeny bit under. All right. So I think that's everything. Please don't forget to check the description box under the video for all sizes, shapes, colors, places to purchase beads. I love looking online and looking at all the cabochons. When I do that, I end up buying so many of them. But okay, so let's clear this off and get started. Okay, let's get started. So thread your needle with about 5 feet of thread, put on a stop bead. You want about 30 inches after the stop bead. So a lot more on your tail end than on your working thread, because the tail side is going to be the front of our bezel. All right, so I've picked up, this is my sequence, and dropped down to my stop bead, my A bead and B bead. So my A is my blue bead and my B is the gold bead. So 7A and 3B, and you're just going to do that 4 times. 7A, 3B, 7A, 3B, 7A, 3B. I'm going to make those into a circle. So I'm going to come around and I'm going to sew up through the first 2 beads. The first 2 after my stop bead. So there are 2 A beads there. I'm going to sew up through those 2. Just make sure there we go. Stop bead is out of the way. Okay, now we're going to start the pattern. So I'm going to pick up one of my A's. I'm exiting this A bead. I'm just going to skip one and sew through the next one. So just, you know, the peyote bezel like we've been doing. Like that. Pick up another A. Exiting here, skip this one. Sew through the next one. Make sure they pop on top of the previous Delica, like so, or Aiko in this case. One more, exiting here, skipping this one, sewing through that first gold one. So you've put on 3 of your A beads, and then you're going to put on 1 gold. So exiting here, skip this one, sew through this guy. Like that. So you can always almost see this is the pattern that's going to come out. Then we're going to pick up another A, put on an A, another A, put that one on, another one, one more. So you're putting on 4 A's altogether. You started with 3 A's here, put on 4. So just to get a little understanding here, when we come around, the last bead we put on is going to be an A bead, and that's going to give us 4 here. Okay, so just in case you wanted to know that. So let's keep going. So we're putting on a B. Hopefully I didn't confuse you. Okay. So we're going to repeat that. We're going to put on 4 A beads here. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. See how you're always ending up. So you can put a B bead right here, B bead here. I'll just finish the round with you. And then going to our A beads again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Picking up a B, putting on a B, and then we're going to take our last A bead and we're going to step up. So exiting here, skipping this one, sewing through the next one, and then the one on the diagonal. So that's going to give us the 4 beads in the beginning. So, and this is what we have. So we have, see our sections, we have 4 A beads in between the B's. That's what it should look like. Okay, this is what we have so far. So now we're just going to put on an A round. So you're just going to pick up your A bead and you're just going to sew all the way around using A beads. Just sew through the sticking out bead using your A beads. Okay, next up we're going to put on a round of 15 O's. So I'm using the A bead, like so. So you're just going to go all the way around with your A beads, and then you're going to step up and put a second round of A beads. So do that. I'll let you step up on your own and then come back and we'll continue. Okay, we're back, and I put the 2 rounds of 15 O's on. That's the back of my bezel. I'm done with that for now, but I'm going to leave the thread and needle attached. So if we need another round, we can put it on, and we really won't know that until we get the front worked on. So take off your stop bead, thread your needle. So I'm exiting an A bead. Should be exiting this A bead as well. I'm going to pop my stone in. And the way I'm putting my stone in is, so do you see where the gold points are? On either side here. Now just a little note, when I was working on, and let me just straighten this out for a second and I'll show you what I'm doing here. So when I was working on one of the turquoise ones, here we go. So this is one of the turquoise ones that I had worked on, and I was it was a little loose, so I just kept moving it around. And if I put those gold points, one at the top, one at the bottom, and two sides, this is what I came up with. So you could actually make it sort of like a square. That's kind of, or a rectangle. That's kind of cool, huh? But this is how it was originally meant to be. So I'm going to continue on this way. But you can, I guess you can try it the other way as well. See, so my little gold air points are here, and here, and that's how I'm going to continue. So I have my stone in. I'm exiting this A bead over here. So we're going to work with our 15-0s, and you know, it will move around a bit, but you will make sure that these, you know, your spacing is correct here and here, and you have time to play with that. So we're going to pick up, we're going to put on 3 A beads. Now I changed to a little lighter color because I was afraid you couldn't see it that well. Your color is going to be closer to your, you know, your Delica color. So I'm going to put on 3 A beads. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Oops, I think I missed. Let's see, there we go, 1, 2, and 3. So I have 3 A beads on, and then I'm going to put on a B. Like that. And then I'm going to put on 4 A beads. So 1, 2, 3, and if you notice my stone's moving around, it's okay. 4, so I have 4 of my A beads on, and then I'm going to put on a B. So I'm going to continue in that manner all the way around. I'm going to put on 4 A's and a B, 4 A's and a B, and meet me at the end, and we'll step up. Okay, I've come down to the end, so I put on my last 4 of my A beads, and I have my B, and then I'm going to step up with one of my A beads. So exiting here, just going to sew through the next one, the Delica, and then the 15-0 on the diagonal. That's going to complete this round. There we go. Okay, let's move on. So let's go to the next round on the front. So we're going to pick up an A, 1 A, and then another A. So put on 2 A's, like that. Just pull it a little bit. Okay, and then 2 B's. So your B's are always going to be next to the BB that is already on there. And then we're going to do 3 A beads. It's 1, 2, and 3. Oops, got my tail thread caught there, or my other thread caught there. Okay, so 3, and then you want to put on your 2 B beads. 1 and 2. And please excuse the noise. My neighbor is having a lot of trees cut down, so we'll have to deal a little bit with the noise. So we're just going to do that all the way around. You're going to add 3 of your A beads and then 2 of your B beads. And the 2 B beads are always going to flank the other B beads, and then meet me at the end and we'll step up. Okay, let's step up. So I'm going to step up with an A bead. So here I'm exiting right here. So I'm just going to sew through this A and then the little A on the diagonal. And now I'm done with this round. A little note here, if your stone is loose and you think you need more in the back, I've already put some on to actually put a gold one there, but it doesn't really matter. What you're going to do here is, so you're exiting, let's say you're just exiting one of these 15-0s, pick up a 15-0 and sew through the next two. Like that. Pick up a 15-0, sew through the next two. And you can do that all the way around and it will pull it together. I find that with the cabochons, it really helps to do that. All right, so you can do that and then come back and we'll continue on the front. Okay, we're back. Now we're going to be working with just our B bead. So for me, that's the gold bead. And we're going to sort of make that pretty little design there. So I'm exiting one of my A beads right here. I'm going to pick up a B, sew through the next one, and then another B, so two B's, and sew through the next one, like that. So that's bringing me to this group here. So I want to just pass through the next two beads. So see where I'm exiting that gold one. I'm just going to pass through these with my needle and thread. That's why a size 15 beading needle is good here, a size 12. I'm going to pass through these two, and then I'm going to add some more gold beads. So I'm going to add 1, 2, 3. Notice I'm just working my way to these gold beads. So 4. So I'm adding 4 of my B beads. Like that. And that brings me to that little group of gold. I'm just going to sew through, without any beads on my needle, the next two. So I'm filling in all the way around. And then you're going to do that again. 4 of your gold beads. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I'm going to just pass my needle through the next two, like that. And I'm just going to continue that all the way around. Okay, coming down to the end. So I'm going to put on my last 2 gold beads. So that's 1, you can end with 2, and then I'm going to step up with this one. So exiting right here, I'm going to step up through this one and then that gold one, like that. And now I'm ready to put some more beads on. Okay, let's add some beads on. We're getting there. We're close to being done with the front. Okay, so I'm exiting this gold bead right there. So it's my B bead. I'm just going to fill in all the spaces. So here I'm going to pick up a B and I'm just going to pop it in there. And then you want to just advance your needle. So just moving through the beads, and it's very easy to get through as long as you're using that size 12 beading needle. Like that. And then I'm just going to fill in these spaces as well. So here. Like so. Just keep going around. So I put 3 there to fill those in. And then I'm just going to keep moving around, so advancing, and then every place that I have an opening where there's a blue bead showing, I'm just going to add my gold bead. There. Go. Just going to keep going all the way around. So advancing through this solid, where I don't have a blue bead showing. And then where I have an opening, I'm just going to put a gold bead. Starting to come together. Like that. Advancing. So, a couple more there, and I've got one more opening, so we're going to exiting here. I'm going to put it here, so I'm just going to sew through this one, and then the one on the diagonal. I'm stepping up. And this is what I have. We have one more round to put on. This is what I have so far. Looking good. So I'm exiting one of the gold beads. Now all I want to do is I'm going to move my needle around, and I have two spaces here. 1, 2. I'm going to put a bead here and a bead here. I'm going to move around, put a bead here and bead here. So I'll start it with you. So I'm just sewing through the beads until I get up to, whoops, these two spaces right here. And I'm going to, actually you could even stop it before then. I'm going to put 2 beads here, 1 and 2. Oops. Got myself a little bit twisted. There we go. So there, I put those 2 on. Then I'm just going to work my way around again. If you can't get through several beads at once, just do them one at a time. Putting on one here, and then one here. I'll let you go do the last 2, and then I'll meet you at the end. I went a little bit out of frame in the last clip, and it would be very hard for me to back out, so I'm just going to talk you through it. You know, you're filling in those 2 beads. I've finished this bezel already, but you are finishing the 2 beads. You're just going to advance through all the beads, put the 2 on, advance through all the beads, put the 2 on, advance through all the beads, put the 2 on. So that's how you're going to do that. I think you can probably get it from what I did, but I just wanted to just clear that up a little bit. Okay, adding my last 2 beads. So I've got 1. And then 2, like so. And then you can just move this thread. So I'll just go through. If you're having trouble getting through anything, through a bead, I'm just going to reverse direction here, actually, and go through this blue one because I'm done and I don't really need to go further. Now, this is your completed bezel. Isn't that pretty? I just love it. I think it's so pretty. So you're just going to sew this thread in and sew your back thread in and then come back and we will start on the band. Okay, so before we start the band, I just want you to get a look at all the different stones I used here. So some of them are, you know, one is the crystal. So this is, you know, a fancy stone, and these are cabochons. So you can see the different look. This one's a little bit rounder around the top where the cabochon. So if you look at the actual, like you look at an actual cabochon and then you look at one of the crystals, do you see how it's much rounder than the cab is a little narrower at the top and the bottom? So that's a little bit of a difference there. And also, I like ending it exactly where I ended it, but if you want to add another bead, you can put one right there. You can. Just be careful going around. I just kind of like the swoop that it gives here. It's like swoops a little bit. So I didn't think it needed the bead there. I thought it looked really pretty the way it is. So anyway, just a couple things. All right, so let's get started on the band. Okay, we're going to start the band. So the band is essentially going to be the bail that's on the the pendant if you made the pendant. So it's going to look like this. Only I'm just going to do one motif here of the gold, and the rest I'm going to do plain. We're going to start one end, and then we're going to meet in the middle and zip it up. So if you're doing this, just make sure when you do it that your spacing is good underneath so everything meets nicely. Now, I'm going to use the turquoise one because I think you'll be able to see it better. And I'm going to center my band between these two guys. So, and I'm going to use the very last round of Delicas before the 15-0s to place my band on. So if I use this as sort of a vantage point, I'm just, see this gold bead right here, I'm just going to sew underneath through the Delica bead underneath like that. So you've threaded your needle with about 3 feet of thread. Put on a stop bead and leave enough of a tail to sew in. If you're playing with this little picture frame bezel, which is growing on me, you're gonna figure out how to center it in between. You're gonna use this as your center, and then you'll figure out the two sides. And you should be able to do that as you see me going along. So this is what we have so far. So I'm exiting this Delica bead underneath this gold one. I'm going to pick up a gold Delica. I'm going to sew through the next one. And then I'm going to pick up my A bead, which is, the color. I'm going to use a contrasting color so you can see where everything is going. I'm going to sew through the next one. Pick up another A. Sew through the next one. And I'm going to pick up my gold bead or my B bead and sew through this one. So now I have the base on for my base. Now we're going to do a little turnaround because I want to exit the gold bead at the top. So I'm just going to turn my piece over, exiting this bead right here. I'm just going to sew down through this little 15-0 right there. I'm going to sew back up through this guy, sew through this gold one, and then up through this one and the gold one I put on. So right there. So just did a turnaround. There are probably many ways you can turn around there, but that seemed like an easy way. And now I'm ready to put some more beads on. Let's add some beads on. So I'm exiting that top gold bead. I'm going to pick up my blue one, and then you want to put a gold one on because we want to make that little motif. And my background color again here. I'm going to go back up, pick up a gold, sew through this one, and then another gold, sew through this one. So I'm making the motif now. Another gold, go through this one, and then we want one more gold bead, and we want it to sit up here, so we have to do that little odd count turn. So exiting here, picking up my bead, I'm going to come in from this direction. I'm going to sew through that gold one at the top, the blue one, and then the gold one underneath. Okay, now I want my thread, so that places that bead right there. My thread coming out here, so exiting here, I'm going to sew through this one. So that's the bead next to the one I'm exiting. This one above it, and then the one to the left. Like that, and then down. This one. And this is what we have. Okay, let's keep going. So I'm going to pick up my blue bead, pop it right there, and then my gold bead, because I want to finish the little motif. Got that, that's done. Then my blue bead. Going back up, I'm going to pick up a gold and a blue, and another blue, like so. Now I have to do my turn, so I'm going to pick up a gold, exiting here. I'm just going to sew through, coming from the top, the gold and the two blue on the diagonal there. So those 3 beads right there, like that. And then I want to get to the top, come out of this bead, so sewing through the bead next to the one I'm exiting, the one above it, the blue one above it, the gold one to the left, and then down this one. And now I'm ready to put some more beads. So for the rest of the band, you're just going to be adding the blue and the gold beads. So I'll get you started. So exiting here, I'm going to put on a blue and a blue. The blue. And I'll go back up with my gold, and then blue, another blue. Now I want to do my turn. So I have my bead, I'm going to sew through, exiting here, I'm going to sew through these 3. Back up the bead that is next to the one that I am exiting, through these 2, and then down this one. So now I can put some more beads on. So if you're just going to continue just the blue and the gold on the edges on this side, so do it about halfway there, start on this side, and then we'll meet in the middle. If you want to keep adding motifs here, this is the round or the row that you're going to add them. So you'll have one blue in between, and then you're going to start with your gold here. Okay, so have fun with that. Get that done. Come back and we'll sew it together. Okay, my band is done on both sides, and now I just want to sew it together. So you're going to make sure when you're going to zip peyote up, for this band, you want to have 3 of your turquoise, whatever your color is, so that's your A bead right here. And then you want to end the other side so that you have 2, because we want to zip them up. So when I hold it together, see how those are going to fit in between, just like that. All right, so you have should have some thread left over. So you're exiting here. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to sew through the gold one on the other side. It's just going to get me started. And then I just want to go back and forth and zip this up so you can actually see where they're going. So if we're coming out of the gold one on this side, we want to go through the bead on this side, so the color on this side. And then when you're coming out of this side, you want to go over to the other side. So you're going back and forth, like zipping it up, like that. I'll leave it a little bit open, exiting here, going back to this side, exiting here, go back to this side, like that. So you can kind of see the thread path going on there. And then you're going to tighten yours. Sitting on this side, you're going to go over to this side, okay, like that, and then you want to go back over to this side through this gold one, and then you're going to sew up through this one. So I'm just going to show you the thread path, so that's what it looks like. See it on my finger, and then I'm just going to pull it tight. You tighten it as you go, and then you just sew exiting here. You want to just sew up through this bottom, the next one on the other side, so that you have a thread in between those 2 beads. And then you're just going to sew through the beads and, go back and forth, switch direction, and cut your thread off. So get that done and come back and we'll finish up. Okay, we're back and we're done. So how much fun was that? So I've got some left over that I've been playing with. Having so much fun with this. A bracelet's going to be coming up with these, in the future for sure. Here is, I want to show you what I did with this lapis one. Isn't that pretty? I just love how the contrast is on that one. I actually stiffened this one with jewelry shield. I don't know how long it's going to stay stiff, but I kind of like it stiff like that. So either that or here's, loose. So it's, got the floppy band. Look at that one. Isn't that one pretty? I love that stone. So play with your stones. So much fun. I mean, I'm just loving using these gemstone cabochons. All right. So I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.